Greetings everyone, my name is Dr. Jason Freeman. I'd like to welcome you all to my channel. In this video, I take a tour of Villa Park, which is the stadium of the Aston Villa Football Club. I also go shopping around Birmingham, England, and then I give you my final thoughts on my England trip. Now, at any point, feel free to click the notification bell and subscribe to my channel to get more content. So, without further ado, let's begin. Alright, so we're heading over to the Aston Villa football stadium. I'm excited. Aston Villa won last night, so should be pretty happy over there. Yeah, so we're gonna be doing that. Then after that, I'm gonna head over and do some shopping. Get the Harry Potter thing from Primark for my wife, so hopefully they'll have it. But yeah, just kind of more chill today. Just kind of wandering around and then heading back to the hotel. So okay. So I think we're heading to North Stand reception. That's what I saw on the sign over here. So right there. So yeah, we're heading on in. I'll just get this, make sure I get this in here. Probably on the way out, but I'll get a picture of me in front of it. I want to get a good look inside the stadium. So yeah, pretty excited, yeah.
Down there. Although we haven't got an external balcony here, what we do have, which was quite futuristic in those days, is the grill there. You do actually hear.
So it's just one of those boxes at the Villa Park stadium, so it's pretty cool. Never thought I'd be in one of those. Alright, so we're in the away dressing room here. This is where the players from other away teams would kind of hang out before the match. So this is the home dressing room. So you can kind of see, as you can see where so like watching Premier League in the US, is kind of sometimes see where they prepare. You kind of see them getting ready before the matches. Yeah, cool. I can watch on TV. I can say, oh yeah, just over there. So we're heading out to the pitch. I'm ready. I'm a football fan, come on. Okay, there we go. Okay. Alright, so we stopped off by the Aston Villa store on the way out. I got a couple things. I think I'm just gonna get one thing. Get the Harry Potter thing for my wife, and that's gonna be kind of it. Shopping wise, I might get something from Gabe. I'm trying to think. I already got him a couple of things, but I might give him like one toy or something. I gotta get maybe a Thomas thing for him, and then we'll head back to, US. So I'm gonna see how far Primark is from here. I actually might go there first, because I do need to get something for Allison. So I'm gonna just see how far it is, and then once I figure that out, I'm gonna do, it's a nice little area to the students. So, sweet shop. This is something that I know my in-laws want, so I'm gonna go check in the sweet shop. All right, so I'm in Primark. I'm looking for the Harry Potter section, which I was told was up here. On a mission for my wife to get her this Harry Potter bag thing that I have to find out where it is though. So I'm just kind of walking. We got Disney. I'm in the Disney section. So not here. Let's see. Looking for Harry Potter. Alright, so I am headed to the upper floors. I guess this is the first floor. So yeah, makes sense. I saw a lot of women stuff here. So yeah, so I'm one more floor up and I can go to the Harry Potter stuff if I can. Yeah. It took me a second to kind of figure out which one of those should go like -2, -1. So okay, so now I'm on the second floor for real, looking for Harry Potter. So let's see. Just gonna go around. I suppose it's a big section, so I'm gonna. So I got a couple things. So for my wife, I got some like a Harry Potter bag with like a little wand attached to it, and then for my son, he loves Spider-Man, so I got him like a Spider-Man thing. It sounds like the British little thing, like the £2.50 on it. So yeah, I didn't see. I mean, if I see any Thomas stuff, I might get him something. But yeah, I think this will work for him. Okay, so I'm in Waterstones right now. So I'm gonna try to get a Thomas the Train book for my son, and also one of my colleagues bought a couple years ago. She was here in England and she got him a Thomas book. So I'm gonna get something for her son. I think a Thomas book is gonna be a book of some sort. So I'm just not sure. I'm not sure if he's into Thomas or kind of what he's into, but I'll see what other books are over here he might find interesting. So when we were in the Lake District, we heard a lot about Beatrix Potter and Peter Rabbit. So I'm gonna look her up if she did The Frog and the Toad. That's what I'm thinking this might be, but I might be wrong. But that's the first thing that makes me think of, like growing up, we would see like little, I think, claymation or cartoons on The Frog and the Toad. So yeah, we'll see. And I'll just kind of check it out and see. I'll look it up at some point. I'll probably mention it, and I'll probably have a little thing on the screen and about my investigation. So yeah. So this is kind of a great section here. So we have many different books that are being mentioned in the class, like for example, Alada Equion. Gilroy. This is one of the books I suggest to the students. Yeah. All the good stuff here. I'm stopping myself. I'm opposed to the boys. So I'm stopping myself from getting these books because I have to actually carry the stuff back to, through the airport, so it'll be too heavy. So definitely be coming back to Waterstones when I come back here in a year. So just looking at the British history section. I saw David O's Sogas, one of his books was over there. So, of course, British history is much longer than U.S. history, so I saw that. Yeah. Various eras, the Brits during World War II. So, Silver. So that's where the children's section was, and I think I found it. So I'm immediately looking for anything with Thomas the Train in it for my son. I'm gonna see if I can find something for King as well. All right, so if you're ever in Birmingham, check out Waterstones. A really good selection. Got a couple good books in there for me and my son. So I will be heading back to the hotel, get some work done, uploading, and yeah, give some final thoughts on England and this trip. Greetings, YouTube, and the people out there who are watching me on something other than YouTube right now. So I just wanted to kind of just give my final thoughts on England before I head back to the US tomorrow. And so I had this kind of 5 points that I came up with, five kind of overarching kind of things I wanted to mention regarding kind of my final thoughts on England after being here from the 3rd of January to today's the 15th of January. So the last couple, like 2 weeks basically. And again, I'm heading out tomorrow. So the first big kind of takeaway is that I am excited about coming back next year. And so, I'm planning to come back next year with a class. I hope a bigger class actually. So I had 10 students this time. I'm hoping to have at least 18. That was my goal last time. And I think there were certain things that I did not do that would have increased my likelihood of getting those 18. One of those things is I'm going to go to actual classes this time at Towson very early in the semester to recruit. I think one of the big things is there's a big question about finances. So I have no idea who or if anybody on this trip here is on like scholarship or financial aid. I was on Pell Grant, by the way. Pell Grant is for low income to go to college, and so I was on financial aid my whole career, and so I don't know who was on that, who paid out of pocket, whose family paid out of pocket, what have you. But my point is, I think if I emphasize that and really provide a lot of really solid information on how to get the financial aid, I think I'll have more people coming next year. I've had at least one person mention the finances when emailing me and asking me questions about why they didn't go this time. And it's one of those things. I want to make sure that people who want to come to this course or want to be part of this course actually have that opportunity. So that's one big thing. But I'm excited about coming next year with a new class. Excited about kind of re-engaging with the different scholars and people. There's certain ones in particular that I don't feel like I had enough time with. And so I definitely want to do that next year. I'm excited about doing some of the excursions again. Excited about, I'll talk about that a little bit later, but excited about certain ideas that I've had on this trip that I can maybe implement next trip. So yeah, I'm excited about next year and coming back. And that has a lot to do with England and my general feeling about England in general. Traveling here over the last 2 weeks and the impression that it's had on me. My other big takeaway, my second one, is that if you're going to come to England and go to the north of the country, particularly the Lake District, don't do it in winter. That's to me was the biggest mistake that I made on this trip. Well, I guess one or two. I would say the biggest mistake was planning the northern trip, the trip to the north of the country during the winter. My original plan for this course, when I first came up with it, was to do it in the summer. But because of cost, it was mentioned to me and essentially, not dictated, but the idea was if you put it in the summer, it's going to be just too expensive for most students and it won't fill. And so I said, okay, we'll do it in the winter. And I had already planned going to the Hadrian's Wall and that in the north of the country in the original summer iteration. But that was a mistake to keep once it was moved to winter. So that's one thing that's going to go. I've been to Roman ruins. I've done that. That's off my bucket list. I didn't feel like the students got a lot out of it personally, especially because they didn't deal with the African presence in Roman Britain, which I think has been a big problem for decades and centuries at this point. The ignoring of that aspect, and so. So that's a big, and just to be clear, there is documentation. There's there's one kind of writing from that time that does show that there were African guards on the wall. So I know some people, the whole misinformation thing, that's a documented fact. There's historians have already documented that. So but the point is, that's something that I'm probably gonna cut out of the next trip. We won't go into the Roman ruins, which may disappoint some, but I don't think it's going to be enough I don't think it would have caused anybody on this trip to have not gone if that had been taken away or if that wasn't part of it. So that's another thing, but just don't go to the north in the winter. I'm definitely going to go to the Lake District at some point in the summer. One of my things kind of in regards to coming back is after the next course, I do want to maybe come back during the summer with my family, and possibly because I'm going to go on sabbatical probably the year after next. Use part of my sabbatical here in England, or most. I can't do the full thing because my wife works in Maryland and has a full time teaching job there with younger kids, with elementary school kids, and so having to walk away from her job for a year, I think would be too much. But definitely coming here at least for a summer with my son, who's also going to be in elementary school, would be, I think, a great opportunity or a great time overall. A third thing that I want to, or third basic final thought I want to put on England is I'm excited about going to a football match. That was one of my disappointments from this trip. I had thought about doing a football match with the class overall. But at some point, that idea went away. I think it had to do with cost and everything. But I'm going to try to factor that in and include that in the course package overall next time. And the reason I think I can do that is because this time there's this play on the ropes, which I gave a review for, and I'll add a card at the top of this screen to kind of refer to that one. But the point is that was something that I discovered that someone I had asked about a play written by a Black British playwright, and then they suggested that one. So and that was part of the fee. So they paid for it to go to the play. So I think I could do that with a football match because I think is a big bonding experience for the one. I think because several students mentioned wanting to go to a match. One student did go to a match, Aston Villa versus Leeds United. And so it's one of those things, it's like, I think that'd be a good bonding experience. We're going to talk about blacks in sports. Aston Villa had a part in that as well. Now it'll be a local Aston Villa match most likely. There's Birmingham City, but I think Aston Villa would be the better choice. But the point is, I think there'll be a great bonding experience. It'll kind of help us give a feel for matches. Who knows what happens in that match? I know they've done a lot to deal with anti-racism, but you never know what you're going to see in some of these matches and with the supporters and some of the stuff you'll hear. So again, it'll be interesting to kind of get my students' feel for these matches and then also talk about some of the racism that's happened in these matches. So I definitely I want to do that on the next iteration. And that's something I got more excited about being here and going to the Aston Villa tour. My fourth big takeaway is that the British people that I've encountered have been extremely polite. But here's the but. I think that there is an undercurrent amongst a minority, so I'm being emphasized, a minority of British people of kind of the kind of a little bit of xenophobia and resentment. I've gotten some glares. I'm not gonna go too much detail, but some of my students have encountered some stuff too. Not anything that nothing. I don't want to go too much detail, but not like people felt like in danger of something happening. But the point is, there is some of that xenophobia. I think that's a holdover. Well, I would say holdover from Brexit, but what helped create Brexit in the first place. And so, again, this is a minority. The vast majority of British people I've encountered have been extremely polite, extremely nice, more so than in Maryland and on North Carolina. Well, North Carolina is pretty polite, but and that's kind of my comparison. But there's definitely some hostility in North Carolina to people of color. Again, it's more covert now than it was overt when I was younger, when my aunts and uncles and my grandparents were around. They were around, but my grandparents aren't around. But when they were living in North Carolina, what have you. But the point is, I've gotten some glares, and I won't say it's been from a specific demographic, and I'll stop there because I don't want to get like generalization or like any kind of racism or anything. That's not me at all. But there's been a certain demographic that has I've gotten some glares from, and again, the minority of this demographic. But just walking down and kind of looking up and just having these eyes on me, and they weren't friendly, and it's like what's going on with you? Like why? And it wasn't as if I was literally just walking around. Like I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't Like I don't, like I'm pretty much like, I mean, you see me walk. I'm just kind of walking. I'm talking on the thing, but even when I wasn't talking, just I kind of looked up and kind of noticed certain glares, like you don't belong here or that type of thing, or this country has enough of you, that type of thing. And so I guess my point is there is definitely a lot of politeness, but I think that under that politeness, for a minority, and that's I'm going to say it one more time, a minority, there's that underlying xenophobia. Like I'm going to smile and be nice because I don't want to get canceled, but I really don't like you. And sometimes it gets betrayed by certain, like I'm looking at my phone, I look up and I have these eyes on me that are not friendly. So that's been one thing, but that's been a minority. And most of the people, even in that demographic, have been polite and nice to me. So again, one of the reasons why I am excited about coming back next year. All right. uh, I didn't want my arm to get tired. That's why I waited to do this, to hold it up for last. Let's give you one last kind of look. So this is out of my window at the hotel. And this isn't a great view. You see, just kind of, but basically, just kind of see across the little area here. But all right, so my final thought. So number 5 is that I've really, for the first time since I was probably my 20s, seriously contemplating moving to England. Now, one of the reasons why I chose England, other than just the language thing, was that I would consider myself a bit of an Anglophile. Like I've been watching British shows since I was a kid, Doctor Who, the show Are You Being Served, which is a comedy. Red Dwarf, a sci-fi comedy, and it's probably dozens of other ones. I'm not even I just kind of take for granted these were British shows that I just kind of grew up with, and I can't think of them all. But the point is, I've been a fan of like British culture and kind of taking in the British culture, theater in particular. Now, obviously, this is my first time seeing British theater in person, was on the ropes, but you'd see British theater on film over the years on PBS in particular, and so I've been a fan of like British culture and that what have you, and music, also British music as well. I guess that's another point. One thing I really like about I think the music is better here. Like just sitting in like lobbies and stuff, like I've liked a lot more of the music than say typically in the U.S. And the thing is, it's because of the like reggae. It's because of the Motown blues, American Motown blues. That influence on British culture, which I think is bled into the music. One of the reasons I love the Beatles is because they have acknowledged that particular influence. And so I think that like the Motown American hip hop, the influence on British music, for me, I like it better than American music, which for the most part, I mean, again, generalization, but I think the influence is more direct here and much more visible within the music. So again, just in general, for the first time, I've contemplated moving to England, and obviously it's complicated. I'm a faculty person at Towson, so I would have to leave that job, and I'm not planning to do that anytime soon. But it's one of those things I've thought about, like, what would it take? What would I need to do to make the move? The biggest thing is my son, taking them out of American schools, which aren't, I mean, probably based on where we live, they're fine. But the idea of moving, taking them out of the American system and putting them into the British system, which I don't have any experience with, I don't really know a lot about, would be a jolt. And so that's one of the things that'd be like, yeah, I don't know if that would work. But who knows? It's one of those things, again, it's just an idea. It's just a thought, being here and the impression the country's had on me. I've contemplated what would it be like to move here, even for like a year. Would be interesting to kind of get a feel for, what would I miss? What would I kind of just get used to? And when I go back to America, I'll miss it when I'm there. What would it be how would it make my life different if I moved here? And so that's just one thing, a thought that I've had, like, contemplating moving to England. Again, there's no language barrier. I mean, of course, pronunciation and kind of how things are phrased are different. I mean, there are definitely cultural things that I probably won't get used to, like the British kind of decorum, which I noticed a lot at the play on the ropes, is that, you have people who are like me, just kind of getting and going and dancing and singing. And there's a lot of people around who just were kind of just, stoic. And I'm like, but they're asked to kind of encourage you to go and sing. And I don't know. That's just something that I'm probably not going to get used to. And also the obsession with the Royals. I'll never get used to that because I didn't grow up with it. And so if you grow up with that as your kind of your reference point, and the Royals are just kind of part of your kind of kind of internal like socialization and kind of how you think about the world, then what's that happens with them makes a difference. But for me, it didn't make a difference at all. I couldn't care less about the Royals. Even with Megan, who, just funny note, we were born on the same day, August 4th, 1981. We have the exact same, like, not just birth date, but birthday. We were born on the same day. But the point is, Aston, California. We're both born same day in California, different parts though. But yeah, I don't care about the Royals, not really. And so, yeah, and I never will. I just won't. And I won't disrespect the British people. I mean, that's part of their culture. It's kind of like within Black culture, there is royalty in that we have Dr. King, and we have like civil rights leaders who I consider to be royalty. I would consider President Obama at this point, because of his influence on the culture, regardless of what you think he actually did for Black Americans. The fact that he existed and that he was able to push through and become president of a country that at one point, and even to this day in some aspects, try to disenfranchise Black people in regards to the vote. It's one of those things. I consider him royalty. So we have people who are sacred. I guess that's what I'm getting at. Sacred people that you can criticize, but you want to be careful about. And that's what the Royals are here. So, it's one of those things. I get that aspect, but for the particular royal family, it just isn't, it's not part of my culture. And so I won't talk bad about them, because again, I don't want to disrespect their culture any more than I want them to disrespect my culture. But the point is, it's not anything I'm going to get used to if I did move here. And I don't plan to move here. It's just an idea. You think about it as you're moving through the country. And this definitely isn't just a product of traveling somewhere. I've been to Germany, have no interest in moving to Germany. I've been to Mexico. I've been to the Bahamas. I've been to Canada. Montreal is nice. I wouldn't want to live there, but I love to visit there. Different parts of Central America. Been to Belgium, I've been to Ireland. England is the only country of all the places that I've traveled to that I thought, oh, it'd be kind of cool to live here, at least for a period, and just kind of like settle down and make connections. And part of it is because, and I've joked about it, it's a reverse colonization. There's enough American things here that it wouldn't be a complete culture shock. I wouldn't be giving up all of American culture by living here, because there is a lot of American corporations here, so I can get basically what I can get in America. But it's also certain aspects of culture that I prefer in England, like music, just the general. I don't feel, and as a Black man, that I am a threat or viewed as a threat all the time. Obviously, there are situations where people, as I mentioned, the glare. But for the most part, as I walk through the country, I've not felt like people looked at me as a threat, where in America, that's definitely the case. As a 6 foot tall Black man, I have to be very cognizant that I could run into a situation where I'm viewed as a danger, regardless of my education, regardless of how I speak, regardless of how I act on a day-to-day basis. No criminal record. Closest thing is I got a speeding ticket, and I got a speeding ticket and a issue. I let my tags expire, which I did fix. And that's all within the last couple of years, just absent-minded. But the point is, I don't have a criminal record. I'm not a threat. I have too much to lose. But the point is, in America, I feel like people view me that way, and here I have not sensed that. It's more of a xenophobic, like, almost like if, in America with people of Hispanic origin, you don't belong here. You're taken from our jobs. You're, taken without giving, which is just nonsense, because people of Hispanic, people from documented work, people from Mexico, Central America have given a lot to American culture and continue to do that every single year, day in and day out. But the point is, and same thing with immigrants to Britain. But the point is, I feel more, I've gotten a little bit of the xenophobia, but not the, you are a evil, scary Black man, get out of here. I get that more in America. So yeah, so I've contemplated moving here. But again, I have no plans. And so those are my final thoughts, and that's kind of what I want to end on. I've enjoyed this trip. It's been a great trip. I still have some stuff left on the trip that I'm going to be working on today. But overall, these are my final thoughts on my trip to England that you've been able to see over these last, this is video number 9, over these 9 videos of my first vlog ever. Thank you all. And yeah, it's been fun. Now, as always, if you found any of this video interesting or informative, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. Also, please share this video. And if you have any questions about the Aston Villa Football Club, about Birmingham, England specifically, or England as a society in general, please leave those questions in the comment section below. Thank you all for your time, and have a wonderful rest of your day.